Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Podcast and My Daily Well. I'm your host, Edie Summers, and I have a very special episode today, whether you're finding me across podcast platforms or even on some of my other sites. I wanted to introduce you to two organizations. First, Podcasthon. That's who I'm doing this special podcast episode for. Podcasthon.org is your place to discover charities that are hosting and highlighting different charities across the world. So visit podcasthon.org to discover more charities through the voices of talented hosts from around the world. And I'm going to be highlighting the ASPCA today. I love how they are an advocate for animals. You can see here, I'm sharing my screen. And of course, if you're listening through a podcast, I'll be sharing with you some of their mission. But on the screen here, it says, "We are their voice." I think that's really important to keep in mind, that we are animals' voices. We speak for them. We can advocate for them. And let me share a little bit more about the ASPCA. I really like them for several reasons. They really support abused animals. They rescue abused animals. And this is something that resonates with me for several reasons. First of all, I'm an animal lover and an animal advocate. It's one of the few things I do advocate for. In addition to, I advocate for people who have chronic health issues as well, because I am an author, and I have a major book out called The Memory of Health. And of course, that goes into great detail about holistic well-being, even how to bounce back from having chronic fatigue or other chronic conditions. However, in my book, I definitely talk about animal welfare and being an animal advocate, and recognizing that animals can be a huge part of our lives. And, they're an integral part of our lives. I don't know where I'd be without the animals that are in my life. They're my best friends. I absolutely love them, and I have rescued a lot of them. And this is also what the ASPCA does. So I'm going to share a little bit more about them. Again, I'm sharing my screen. If you're seeing this as a video podcast, you can follow along. Otherwise, of course, you can just listen in through the MP3. So the ASPCA is the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. This is really important to me as well, because I've also been through trauma. And I think this is one of the things that makes me resonate with this organization for many reasons, is that they're helping animals that are currently going through trauma or have been through trauma. And this is something I can relate to. I've been through it myself in terms of domestic violence and domestic abuse. And so, and of course, I absolutely adore animals. So I would never want an animal to be abused. And so I really appreciate this organization, the ASPCA, the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. I really appreciate their work. So they've been at the forefront of animal rescue and protection since their founding as the first animal welfare organization in North America in 1866. So for more than 150 years, they have been the leading voice in animal welfare, bringing the critical protection of animals to the forefront of society. So they've led the way in fighting cruelty, rescuing and securing adoptions for animals in need, and driving significant legislative change that protects their lives and welfare, ultimately transforming how Americans value and care for animals. And I just want to stop right here. I think it's really important to realize the value of animals, just like I always advocate for the value, realizing the value of your own health and well-being. To me, realizing the value of others' lives as well, including other sentient beings, is super, super important to me. And I think everything is super interconnected that way. So I really appreciate that they, again, talk about being their voice and really seeing the value in animals and standing up for them, caring for them. So I'm going to continue on reading a little bit more about the ASPCA. And you can find them on aspca.org. So so the modern challenges facing animals are wide-ranging and complex. And there's so many issues that we could talk about when it comes to animal welfare. Including factory farming, for instance. But I really appreciate how the ASPCA really focuses on animal welfare. Again, the modern challenges that animals face are wide-ranging, and the ASPCA tackles the challenges head-on and in innovative ways, including providing vital veterinarian care, responding to disasters. I've definitely see that happening when there are certain disasters that have happened. I've seen the ASPCA stepping up, including other organizations, of course, as well, to help animals that might be caught in a natural disaster and be suffering because of a natural disaster. They also help. And again, I'm reading and or paraphrasing from their website primarily. They also help with pioneering adoption and behavioral rehabilitation programs, conducting critical animal welfare research, training law enforcement and shelter professionals, and advocating for more effective laws. And I think that's also really important to work at that level at the law. So they also partner with support shelters, veterinarians, and others who share their commitment to a safer, more compassionate world for animals. And I always like to say, for instance, I am an author. So I write books on health and wellness and other holistic living and wellness topics. And I run several social media pages. And one of them is called Animals Rock. And kind of one of my taglines on there is that animals are aware in more ways than we realize. They are sentient beings. To practice compassion toward them and realize that they are capable of emotions and capable of suffering, just like we are, and even capable of compassion, just like we are. I'm always trying to increase that awareness of how aware animals really are. And so I love how the ASPCA is committed to creating a safer, more compassionate world for animals as well. So again, quoting from their website, rather than directly operating a network of shelters, their role as a well-established national organization and as envisioned by their founder, Henry Berg, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, it's Bergh. It is to collaborate with and offer training and support to hundreds of local agencies, including shelters, rescues, clinics, and others committed to addressing their community needs. So this position enables the ASPCA to advance animal welfare innovations and respond promptly to animal crises throughout the country. So every year, their hands-on work directly impacts hundreds of thousands of animals, with their lasting solutions benefiting millions more. And so they invite you, and I invite you as well, to create a brighter future for animals. I feel like the future should be and can be so much brighter for animals who bring so much joy and value and love into our worlds. For anyone who has a pet, anyone who lives with animals or works with animals or knows animals on, I believe, any level knows this, that there's so much value that animals bring. And I personally feel that they are just like us. So I really appreciate that the ASPCA really strives to make a meaningful difference in their lives. And I know a lot of other organizations do. So I wanted to invite you, if you wanted to support an animal or animals through the ASPCA, let me share with you how you can help. So I'm going to pull up there are so many different ways. For instance, let me go back to this page really quickly. Again, I'm reading from their website. How can you help? Really quickly, you can, of course, be their voice. You could be an animal advocate. You can donate to the ASPCA. You could donate one time or be an ongoing donor. I've done both. You can get involved, and I can read a little bit more on some of these. You can find more humane food. I love that. You could adopt a pet. Again, you can advocate for animals. They also have a way that you can receive text updates. So let's explore. I'm going to click on find more ways to give. So donating to the ASPCA and helping animals. I know that they're always looking for new donors because, the need that animals have is ongoing. So you could make a one-time donation or a monthly donation. It is tax deductible. You can become what's called an ASPCA guardian. You can also donate memorial and honor gifts. Like, for instance, you could send someone a birthday card and do it in honor of ASPCA. There's planned giving. And then, there's so many other ways. I encourage you to visit aspca.org to find out ways that you can give directly to the ASPCA and also to give and help animals as well. There are so many different ways that you can be involved. And again, I'm a huge animal advocate, and I really, I can't emphasize enough how much they've changed my life and how much they always continue to change my life. They make my life better. And so it's something that's really important to me to contribute to their well-being as well. And also contribute, more to kind of the well-being of the world. Holistic well-being is super important to me. And to me, that includes more than beyond things that are beyond myself. So it includes the welfare of others. It includes the welfare of all sentient beings. It includes the wider universe. So I just wanted to highlight the ASPCA for Podcasthon. And again, if you're interested in learning more about Podcasthon, if you're a podcaster, right now they're doing Podcasthon for 2026. And there are still several days where you could get involved as a podcaster and highlight a nonprofit that you believe in, whether you're doing an interview with someone from that nonprofit or doing kind of like what I'm doing, kind of just sharing a little bit about an organization that you believe in, that you've supported, and then kind of just sharing some information about them. So if you're a podcaster, I encourage you to check out Podcasthon. And of course, even if you love podcasts, check out podcasthon.org and check out some of the other charities that are being highlighted this year and even from last year's and from years before. And again, I encourage you also to check out aspca.org to find out ways that you can support the welfare of animals, help animals that are going through trauma, maybe animals that are haven't eaten in a really long time. They might be living in really deplorable conditions. They might be being abused. Let's say they're living in a situation where they're literally chained up and they can't eat, and they don't have shelter. These are some of the ways that also the ASPCA helps. They rescue animals and they also advocate for animals. So I encourage you to check out their website, aspca.org. And again, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Podcasthon, This is something that I'm doing for them because I really believed and I really believe in their mission, and I was really excited to hear from them and to be involved in kind of giving back. This is one way that I can give back and also be an animal advocate. And so thank you so much for listening. Again, if you want to go check out podcasthon.org or ASPCA.org to either support nonprofits through Podcasthon or to directly support animal welfare and animal cruelty, and to really help care for animals and be their advocate and be their voice. Go to aspca.org and see how you can start helping and being an advocate and giving back today. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are in this beautiful world of ours. And I'll go out here with a little bit of music. Thank you so much for listening.